Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So before we jump in, I actually have people outside painting the outside of our building. So if you hear any noises, I think they're stopped right now, but if it does come back and you hear noises, just disregard it. They're just working outside and walking on the roof and stuff. So let's jump in to this video. Today we are talking about the unsolved disappearances of the Bennington Triangle. Some suspect a serial killer, while others point a finger at the paranormal. But nobody has ever been able to fully explain the mysterious disappearances from Vermont's Bennington Triangle. Followers of folklore and aficionados of the paranormal are certainly familiar with the Bermuda Triangle, and perhaps even southeastern Massachusetts Bridgewater's Triangle. But one lesser-known cousin of these areas, infamous for their strange disappearances, holds more than its fair share of mysteries, and that's the Bennington Triangle of Vermont. The Bennington Triangle is a loosely defined area that encompasses the ghost town of Glattonbury, once a small logging community centered on the mountain in southwestern Vermont, abandoned at the end of the 19th century after the logging boom died down. Starting with a string of missing persons from 70 years ago, the now abandoned town has long been the eerie setting of numerous unexplained disappearances, unsolved murders, and bizarre sightings that continue to this day. In 1945, a 5-year span of disappearances began in the Bennington Triangle, and the vanishing of Mitty Rivers, a 74-year-old local hunting guide. Rivers led a party of 4 hunters around the area of Hell Hollow in the southwest woods of Glattonbury before he was suddenly lost. After an unsuccessful initial search, many still believed that this knowledgeable woodsman would be able to survive and soon surface in town. However, this was not the case. Soon, more than 300 concerned locals and U.S. Army soldiers combed through the vast wilderness for 8 days, turning up not even a single shred of evidence as to the whereabouts of Rivers. The following year saw arguably the most infamous missing persons case in the history of Vermont, and that is the disappearance of Paula Weldon. Weldon was an 18-year-old student at Bennington College who decided to hike a leg of the long trail during Thanksgiving break when most of her peers had returned home for the holiday. She was last seen on Sunday, December 1st, 1946, wearing red and entering the long trail near Glattonbury Mountain. Weldon never showed up for her Monday classes, and this sprung a massive search party of more than 1,000 people and a reward of $5,000. Despite the large turnout, no clues to her fate were ever discovered. Many, including Weldon's father, criticized the authorities' methods in handling the case. The case remains open to this day, and exactly 3 years to the day after the vanishing of Paula Weldon, the Bennington Triangle saw one of its more seemingly supernatural disappearances. That day, a 68-year-old man named James E Tedford boarded a bus to Bennington after visiting relatives in St. Albans, Vermont. Numerous eyewitnesses, including the driver, later confirmed that Tedford had been in his seat as late as the last stop before Bennington. Yet, when the bus finally pulled into Bennington, Tedford was nowhere to be found. I want to apologize really quick if I am saying any of these locations incorrectly or any of these names incorrectly. I do apologize. After he vanished into thin air while inside a moving vehicle, baffled passengers noted that Tedford's luggage and an open bus timetable remained on his seat. If the witnesses are correct, Tedford would have disappeared from his seat as the bus was traveling down Route 7 through the Bennington Triangle. Nearly a year later, in mid-October of 1950, 8-year-old Paul Jepson went missing. He was last seen happily playing in the family pickup truck by his mother, who left to tend to pigs at the dump where she and her husband were caretakers. Then he vanished without a trace. In addition to the hundreds assembled for a search party, a New Hampshire sheriff brought a bloodhound to sniff out the missing boy. The dog was able to pick up the scent, but abruptly lost the trail at the nearby crossroads, suggesting a possible abduction by a motorist. As the case dragged on without resolution, some suggested that Jepson met an early demise at the hands of his parents and was possibly dinner for the pigs. But in keeping with the eerie feeling of the Bennington Triangle, the boy's father told the Albany Times-Union that it was perhaps the lure of the mountains that pulled in his missing son, as the boy had always talked of nothing else for days prior to the disappearance. Only about 2 weeks later, a 53-year-old Frida Langer, an experienced hiker and survivalist familiar with the area, went missing. After hiking a brief half-mile with her cousin Herbert, Langer fell into a stream and set back to their camp to change her clothes, where her husband was resting with a hurt knee. But neither her husband nor her cousin ever saw her again. This started a search for Langer. As many as 400 people searched the surrounding areas, yet found nothing. But soon they did find something, and this became the only known disappearance of the Bennington Triangle where a body has turned up. 6 months after she went missing, Langer's body was found near the Somerset Reservoir, an open area that had been searched extensively numerous times in the previous months. Yet even when she was found, the case saw little resolution. There was no cause of death, and there was only further speculation about what kind of disturbing end she might have met. We're going to go over some of the theories about the Bennington Triangle. The intriguing mysteries and unexplained events associated with the Bennington Triangle have caused many to speculate wildly about the possibility of paranormal forces at work. Others believe that the burst of missing persons between 1945 and 1950 may have been the work of a serial killer, but the sheer lack of evidence to back this up likely rules out that theory as well. Others still believe that the disappeared met their demise at the claws of indigenous mountain cat, such as a lynx, bobcat, or catamount. However, a bobcat and lynx are not known to be aggressive to humans, and the catamount has not been credibly sighted since before 1940 and has been declared extinct. While trying to tie the disappearances together in hopes of discovering a solution to the mysteries, there is little to go on. The only known similarities between the most well-documented cases in the Bennington Triangle are the close proximity of the disappearances. The time of day when most were last seen was between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., and the time of year when most were last seen were the final 3 months of the year. With little in the way of evidence, paranormal theories have taken hold. These occurrences include terrifying voices allegedly showing up on dead air radio, sightings of mysterious figures, unexplained navigation mishaps, and even planes that mysteriously crashed. However, it's no surprise that the Bennington Triangle attracts those with a tendency to visit the eeriest places to this day. And that is the unsolved mystery of the Bennington Triangle and the many people who have disappeared in its area. Until next time, bye guys.